farmers. It's Wednesday, April 15th. Who was so happy to see the sunshine yesterday? Me. Out again today. Who's happy? Me. It's nice, makes a big difference when the sun is out. Hope you're all doing well. I want you to look at the background and try and guess where I am today. I'll show you at the end, but I'm trying to trick you a little bit and let you know where on campus am I today. So this is a funny book. It's an old one. It's an oldie but a goodie. This is one of Kristen, the librarian's favorite authors, William Steig. And it's kind of a funny book. And I'm wondering if any of you can relate to Spinky in this story. He's the main character. And he's sulking. So no one really understands why he's sulking. And I wonder if any of you sulk sometimes. And once you start sulking, it's hard to snap yourself out of it. So let's see what happens with Spinky. Spinky sulks. Spinky came charging out of the house and flung himself on the grass. He couldn't even see the dandelions he was staring at. He was so upset. His silly family, they were supposed to love him, but the heck they did, not even his mom. In a while, his sister, Wilhelmina, came out and said, "I'm sorry I called you Stinky Spinky." Spinky didn't answer. "Spink-a-link," she said, "I apologize." Spinky still didn't answer, so she went back inside. "Now she apologizes," he muttered to himself. A little later, Spinky's brother Hitch appeared and touched him with a finger. Spinky shook it off. "You were right," Hitch said. "I looked it up. Philadelphia is the capital of Belgium." Spinky turned his back. His brother's slimy voice was more than he could bear. "Spinks, come on, it's lunchtime," said Hitch. "Mama wants you in the house." Instead of answering, Spinky went out and climbed the big tree. His parents were watching him from the window. "Poor kid, he's just so sensitive," said his mother. "I better go talk to him, Harry." "Ruby, don't you dare," his father said. "He needs to simmer down. He's got no reason to be sulking." When it started getting dark, Spinky's mother came outside. She kissed him over and over and told him how much she loved him and that she loved him with all her heart, ever since the minute he was born, and even before that. Then she covered him with a blanket and kissed him again, and it was not a fake kiss. But Spinky lay there like a stone. He wasn't interested in kisses that came too late. The next morning, when Spinky's father left for work, Spinky was nowhere in sight. 2 seconds later, he was in the back of the house kicking a can. "Some father," he snorted. At noon, Spinky's mother brought him a tray. Spinky didn't even look at her. All of a sudden, they were being nice, he thought. When she came back, the tomato soup and the asparagus were still there, but the donuts and the grapes were gone. Hitch and Wilhelmina kept finding Spinky in different places. They tried to pry a word out of him, or they'd just pass him by sometimes. Oh, he's got such a mean look on his face. Hitch got down on his knees once and begged to be forgiven for anything he had ever done to Spinky. This only made Spinky even more angry. Spinky's mother sat with him and held his hand, but his arm just hung down like a noodle. Wilhelmina picked some daisies and stuck them in the hammock. Spinky threw them out. At around 4 o'clock, a circus parade came marching by. "Look, Spinky," his mother cried. "Clowns, elephants!" But he wouldn't even glance in that direction. What a family! First they ruin his life, and then they expect him to watch a parade. Spinky's best buddies, Smudge and Iggy, came to visit. Smudge crawled into the hammock and whispered goofy things in Spinky's ear. Spinky kicked him out. Smudge and Iggy tried swinging him. Spinky usually really liked that, but not now. He wrapped himself up in the hammock and just disappeared, so his friends left. That evening, Spinky's father gave him a long talk. He said even though Spinky was wrong to sulk like a baby sometimes, everyone still loved him very much. In fact, maybe he didn't realize it, but he was one of the most special kids his dad had ever known. Spinky had time to cover his ears but to avoid listening to his father. No one seemed to understand that he was a person with his own private thoughts and feelings, which they didn't even begin to appreciate. The world was just against him. And so he was against the world, and that included all living things, except, of course, animals. Spinky's family was very worried. They couldn't stand to see him feeling so sad. That night they had a conference, and Spinky's father made a couple of phone calls. The next day was a holiday. The sun was bright, the birds were chirping and happy. Spinky couldn't care less. He lay in his hammock like a pile of laundry. His favorite grandmother just happened to stop by with some of his favorite candy. She gave him a big, fat hug, but Spinky went limp in her arms. After all, she belonged to the human race, for which he had no use. Just then, the circus clown happened to come prancing across the lawn with a sign saying, "We love you, Spinky." The clown winked, reached into Spinky's pocket, and pulled out a triple dip ice cream cone: pistachio, banana, and chocolate chip. Spinky had to laugh, but then he saw his father laughing too and got the picture. The clown had been hired by his family to cheer him up. Well, that wouldn't work. All day long, everybody was as sweet and considerate as they could be. When it started to rain, Spinky's mother covered him with a tarp, and his father set up a huge beach umbrella. Hitch and Wilhelmina served him cake and sandwiches. Still, Spinky couldn't give in, though he was beginning to consider it. Maybe these people didn't know how to behave, but at least they were trying, he thought. Was it their fault that they couldn't do better? He wasn't really even that mad anymore, but he had his pride. After all this suffering, how could he just turn around and act all lovey-dovey? That wasn't his way. Spinky lay awake wondering how to give in and still keep his self-respect. He decided he would take them by surprise. Before dawn, he stole into the house and tiptoed about, very busy with some secret business. In the morning, the whole family drifted down to the dining room in a dreary mood. Laid out before them was a splendiferous feast, and there stood a garish clown inviting them all to join them. Of course, they knew who the clown was. They laughed so hard it was a long time before they could stop. And after that, Spinky's family was much more careful with his feelings. The end. Oh, do you know that feeling when you're so angry about something and you don't think anybody understands you? And you just don't know how to tell them how angry you are, so you sulk. I think we all do it every once in a while. But we always have to remember that our family really does love us no matter what. So does anyone have any guesses where I am? Laura? No? I can go up those stairs. Okay, I'm going to give you a quick little view. I'm in the gray room. Oh. Yep, this is one of the backdrops for Karen's place. So everything looks good in here. It's missing you, but everything's good. So I hope you have a wonderful day. Keep being good to yourselves, good to mom and dad, good to brothers and sisters and pets. Get outside, get your work done, and I will see you tomorrow for another book. Okay, night.